If you've been a horse player for any length of time, you've no doubt heard the term pace makes the race till it's coming out of your ears. But there's a reason for that term, pace makes the race, because it is one of the few what you would call truisms in this game. If you have good knowledge of probable pace, you're going to do a heck of a lot better handicapping than if you just rely on speed or class or some other factor. If you can discern pace, even pace, the pace of a race up to a certain point, like say the second call, if you're halfway competent at doing that, you're going to pick a lot more winners than folks who don't use pace at all. One of the interesting things is, we've seen a lot of pace programs over the years, starting with Tom Ainsley had quite a bit to say about pace, but he used it more via final fraction. But when Howard Sarton came along, he really kind of perfected, and we're talking about the early work of Howard Sarton, probably the late 80s, early 90s, the pure Howard Sarton pace factors. Towards the later 90s, he seemed to get a little off track and started adding things. It was kind of like trying to fix something that wasn't broken, but the pure Sarton, original Sarton theory still stands up very, very well, say with the Tom Brohammer as well. And we have a few programs, pace programs on our site, but we came up with another one that it really, really is fascinating. We call it Perfect Pace. It's a combination of we do use the Sarton type methodology in here, again, the original methodology. But the interesting thing is there's not a lot of programs, or not many that we've seen, that actually takes that pace of the actual race, in other words, the actual fractions of the race, and then compares those to the pace of the individual runner using things like beaten lengths at various calls, final fraction, turn time, etc. And so we found that when this comparison is done, and when it's done right, it can be super, super predictive. We explain here, you can look at the site, look at the promotion on the site, and we explain here what the difference is between the pace of the race and the pace of the horse. But that's the type of analysis this program does. And then Len has added several other variants comparing, looking at turn time, comparing actual par times for fractions run at the particular track, at the distance, and how much that horse may vary from it. Looking at different running styles, leaders, chasers, mid-pack and back horses from behind. And it has come out with a formula that is super, super predictive. We used about almost 200,000 races, and it was overall, we've got some good pace programs, Pace Ace, the Pace Factor, Pace Turf Factor, etc. But this one we find to be the most accurate of all of them. And again, it contains uniquely combines primary elements of Sarton-style pace theory along with Len's total race, total pace theorem into a predictive pace program, provides the user with the major pace players or horses in races up to 1.1 miles dirt and turf. And that's another interesting thing about this program. While most pace programs are most effective in sprints, this one does very well in longer races as well. We can put several examples on the website, and one of the things that surprised us, I guess, when we were studying it, is how often a really, really nice price comes in. Example, here's a $14.60 horse that really was a standout according to the numbers. Had a number far above all its competition. It still paid $14, and that's the whole idea behind a pace program, is that you will be able to locate horses that have a pace advantage, but that the general public can't see. Again, here's another one, nice 11.20, and again, this horse was just So there's a loan qualifier number one, which is really strong in this program. When there's a loan qualifier, just one horse with a column, there's 1120 payoff. We put an example on here of 3 races in a row at Laurel, where the horse was 1880, 1440, and 1720, 3 in a row. And if you had played the doubles, pick 3, etc., which we didn't play the pick 3, but the fact is that you'll see horses, you'll see prices bunching on certain cards. And here there was another one earlier on the card here at Laurel in the 13th, I believe. But here they're like the last 3 races, just boom, 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 and all double-digit prices, all prices in the teens. And the fact, obviously, that's not going to happen a lot, but the fact that it happens at all, and the fact that we've seen it happen several times, again with these several winners, several double-digit prices on the same card, basically tells you that the program has a lot going for it, that the program, it's definitely seeing something the general public isn't, and this formulation is very, very sound. In other words, it's not picking these horses just by random, it's picking them because internally, mostly, we found mostly when we look back on it, the internal fractions on these races and the turn time, which Len predicts and these work in the background, seems to be very, very accurate in finding horses that the public pretty much ignores. There's another little neat trick here too on the situation. Sometimes you won't have any horses; they'll all be eliminated. But we found a situation where if there's no horses with total numbers, and you find a horse that has the highest, or actually the lowest number is best here. Low is best. That's usually horses with low minuses, 2s or 3s. They're usually horses that can maintain their position close to the pace. And if you find a horse that has 2 or 3 of the lowest numbers, and this happens pretty frequently when there's no play, but here's a horse that paid $12.80, and it was really obvious using this technique. And again, that's explained in the manual. But again, the price overall average mutual, actually, one of the fellows that tests for us, we had about $8.90. He got $9.20. 34% overall winning using the wagering rules, and we tell you which horses are likelier to win or which are better plays depending on odds, et cetera. So you get a lot of information in the user's manual on how best to use this. And again, we explain here on the website basically how it works, what we're considering as far as the turn time, second and third fraction, final fractions. The jockey and trainer is working there as well. But like I said, all that's working in the background. And it looks at 3 races for each horse, averaged into their pace figures compared to the total pace figures. And again, the lowest numbers are considered best. One of the best things, again, about this program that we found is just how often you get some really, really, really good prices on horses that maybe 6 to 1, 8 to 1 on the line will end up paying $18, $20. Happens over and over and over again. But and this one is priced at $128. A lot of research, a lot of programming went into this. Again, it's very, very likely that when you use this 3 or 4 days, you're going to see a handful of double-digit prices just at a single track. So give us a call, 1-800-696-0067, or go to our website, and we'll talk to you next time. Thanks so much.